April 16th, 2019 regular meeting of the President of the Board of Trustees to order at 7 o'clock. On the roll, Trustee Hutchinson.
Here.
Trustee McAvoy.
Present.
Trustee Curry.
Here.
Trustee Hagan.
Here.
Trustee Frost.
Here.
Trustee Feinstein.
Here.
Can we stand for the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
From the floor, anything, Mr. Keith?
Real quick, presupposing the paperwork is going through for the senior housing, is there any way the village can be notified first before it gets put out for residency?
I think we will be.
Okay.
I'm not sure of that, but, you know, Claudette's been in contact with them. I think you were in contact with them last week, right? And they said that it doesn't come up till May. But they indicated, I'm sure they'll let us know. And we'll request that.
Cool, yeah.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, we're just here to see if you have any questions regarding our zoning ordinance.
Okay. We'll let you comment when we get there, okay? All right. Do we have a motion on this agenda, please?
I'll second.
Motion by Trustee Curry and seconded by Trustee Hagan. Any discussion on the motion? Any items that you'd like to pull? Mary Lou?
Just pull the one, the ordinance regarding the business registration.
Chapter 7. Okay. Anything else? Okay, discussion on that, Mary Lou?
I saw in the minutes last meeting that there was a discussion about, well, we had a discussion of the meeting before that, but reiterated about what businesses are going to get for that fee. You talked to, was it people at Java or something? And
My committee, yeah.
Your committee. So what is it that you told them that they were going to get for that $25? What was being offered? Because in this, I didn't see anything proposed for what people are going to get for that 25.
That's going to be a more thorough and up-to-date listing on the village site. And then really just the administrative portion of that, and it's going to take some time to get that really updated.
So just a more robust listing of what's already there?
Well, what's already there really is not very, it's outdated, and it doesn't contain very much content that would actually help these people with their marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to increase our marketing efforts on their behalf.
Okay, because I just didn't see any details of what it is that we were doing for that, for the $25. If there should be something included in here that kind of outlines what additional things we're going to do for them. Or to even make reference that we're going to be doing some additional things for them for the $25 fee.
Okay.
You had some ideas, didn't you, Josh? You had brought forth some ideas, I thought.
I mean, beyond, for these, which are mostly small businesses that are registered there, it's making their listing more available and something that's searchable that'll help them to better the content on their own websites or Facebook pages or whatever. It's additional links and additional marketing that they can use. And then I think we wanted to look into, highlighting more businesses, which is something that we've started to do with the EDC page, but something that's again going to take more time to put into it to actually go to these businesses and get the information that we can put forward.
Okay.
Any further discussion? With there being none, Trustee Feinstein?
Aye.
Trustee Frost?
Aye.
Trustee Hagan?
Aye.
Trustee Curry?
Aye.
Trustee McAvoy?
Aye.
And Trustee Hutchinson?
No.
Motion carried. President's report, I'd just like to touch real quick that we have interviewed some architects, so we'll be coming back to you with some recommendations, probably in the next meeting, of what we think. They all gave very good, the three that we picked all gave very good presentations, so I think it was a hard choice, but it hasn't been done yet. Okay. New business. Village Board, first read, no action. Move to approve ordinance 18-19-42, granting a variance to section 7 fences of the Johnsburg zoning ordinance for the property commonly known as 1912 River Terrace Drive. Can we have a motion and a second and then a discussion?
This is the first reading.
Oh, it's first read, okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Discussion on the motion. I'm sort of surprised with all the talk that we've had on fences on the river, that zoning recommended a chain link fence when our ordinance says that we were, I think says 4 feet, and it's got to be an aluminum fence with pickets so far apart so you can see through it. And I'm just shocked that we set the precedence and now we're turning the Titanic around again, you know. Have everybody had a chance to look at it and see what was done there? But I don't know if we want to set that precedence. That's all I'm saying going into it.
This is a petition.
These are the petitioners? Yep.
Did you look into getting any bids for a fence that conforms to our ordinance now?
I was
So, yeah, this is the first time we're hearing that we're not in.
in compliance,
Oh.
yeah. We just
So we
bought the
came
house,
in,
yeah.
we applied for the application, or for the permit.
Good.
We're told we had to go to zoning. They said, here's a requirement, it has to be 4 foot high, can't be higher than 5 foot or whatever it is.
You weren't given a copy of what the ordinance was?
No, we'll be willing to get bids and conform, honestly, we
Yeah, that
weren't
would've been
aware.
helpful.
And they didn't mention
Sorry
it last
about
week either, it's the zoning board, so.
Well, on the river, the riverside is considered the front yard of the houses. And the ordinance, I believe, is aluminum or wrought iron fences, because chain link fences aren't allowed in the front yards, okay?
Even if everybody next to us has one already?
Well, if everybody had one next to you already, it was before we were a village 21 years ago.
Yeah, we can't correct that.
Yeah,
But the
that's
problem
okay.
is that was grandfathered in, the county passed them and let them in, okay? But going forward, I don't think we want to change that to where we get to where we're gonna start granting chain link fences.
Okay, no, that's fine, we were unaware of the ordinance.
Yeah.
So, do you have the language of what is allowed in,
It's in the ordinance.
okay?
Yep.
Okay. So we can get that for you if you don't
Okay.
have it? Okay.
No, I don't, yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
I can tell you what it is, just give me one moment.
I think it was, they had told us it was no more than 30% covered,
Closed.
closed.
It was long discussions over fences, so we're not trying to
No, I
pick
get it.
at
Like I
all.
said, we were at the zoning board last week and it wasn't even mentioned.
Yeah.
I got a question. When you came in to fill out that paperwork for the permit, did you tell them where you lived?
Yeah,
Everything?
exactly. We had the plotted survey and laid it out and took, you know, the bid was for the chain link fence. We only had one bid. We didn't realize, we'll definitely want to be compliant, so we'll get additional bids.
That would have been good information to have.
I know it's rough when there are chain link fences all over in the river, but that was,
That's okay.
they go way back 20-some years ago, and we just want to keep the riverside looking nice, just like somebody's front yard, because that's considered the front yard, not the back yard. So, it's a little different.
It's decorative aluminum fencing, or wrought iron fencing, no greater than 4 feet in height with picket spaced a minimum of 4 inches.
So,
Do you want that emailed to you?
I can look it up, if it's online.
I can email it to you.
Okay.
Do you have your email with your
Yeah.
application?
Application. All right, cool. So we'll get the additional bids and then go back through zoning again?
No.
Or
We won't have to.
Okay, all right, good.
Yeah.
No, all you gotta do is come back, and if it complies, I think everybody here feels that we wanna make comply with what the new rules that have been set, because it's been a long discussion. Okay, it's been beat up pretty good. And I was shocked when zoning didn't, say something about it, but, I think that
I'm
was...
shocked they didn't say it either.
Well, I think that what happened is they were probably looking at, okay, there's cyclone fences on both sides, just
Yeah.
like you said.
Yeah, and that's what
you
they
know.
were out to look at it that day, too.
Okay, but I'm surprised she even had to go there.
Right.
Right.
I don't think, if you had been given a copy of the ordinance, you
Okay.
wouldn't know what it was. You'll get it now.
Thank you.
And by the way, I lived in that house when I was a kid.
Oh,
Did you? The River Rock House?
Yeah.
Was it River Rock when you lived there?
The Cobblestone House.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Still got the
fun house.
built-in in the bays, or in the dining room, the built-in cabinets?
Yeah,
No.
I did back then.
Oh.
Did that,
Oh.
Kevin's.
I played in the
wanna
house
move
when I was a
that.
kid.
All right, thank you,
Well,
guys.
thank you, guys,
All
for the
right, that's
confusion.
okay.
We apologize for the
Oh, that's
misunderstanding.
okay.
you know.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any unfinished business anybody wants to bring up? Okay. And committee reports? None?
Well, Davies dealt with today, he had a
Water main.
service line that he dug up because it was leaking, and it's down 8 feet up in Claremont Hills. And now he's chasing it, so he passed a couple of spots and it's coming up someplace else. So they're gonna have to trench across the road and replace the whole thing.
It's, like, I think where he's working now is in the older section, those are down like 8 feet, and then you go to the newer section, they're like between 6.5 and 5 feet, but they're all over the place, so he never knows until he gets up there to dig one up, but he said it was pretty rough all the way back to the main. So-
Well, he said he could be chasing this thing forever.
And they're only half-inch lines.
3/4.
Oh, he told me half-inch, I was just
Yeah,
going by what he told
3/4
me.
inch.
So, but, that's not a very big service, you would think, not from the main, but whatever. Gotta fix them and make them better.
Yeah.
Trustee Curry, your meeting?
Yeah, all sorts of good talk there. Well, first of all, Easter egg hunt this Saturday. It was 11 o'clock here. And then, talking about the wine tasting, and, the committee wanted the, board's opinion and that, the idea was to, do the wine tasting at Chapel Hill and, just get people out to the golf course and all. They told Jill that, it'd be a $500 fee for us to use the golf course. The 19 holes in the area around it for the wine tasting. Jill expressed that she wasn't happy with that, and they dropped it to $300. But just going through numbers, and Kim provided, the history of what we spent last year. We're at $30. We're trying to, if nothing else, not go higher than 30. We'd really like to lower it to $20, $25 for a wine tasting. So I guess the question is, what can we do? Is there anything Golf Visions can do with us as far as that fee, for one thing? And is anybody bothered by the idea of moving it back to Rescue Squad Park and using the community club rather than doing it at the golf course?
Go ahead, Kevin.
What was our break-even from last year? Was it just break-even, or did we make a profit, or?
We were at $187 was the profit.
I don't know how many tickets?
I think we had about 150 people there.
Well,
Pretty non-profit, non-break even.
I think some of the clarification with Golf Visions, and I know that's when I talked to Claudette and Kim, and we tried to get hold of you that day, was that, what kind of staff are they expected to have there? Okay, so I think they're not opposed to, you know, lowering the fee if they don't have to staff it. So now, if we go with, and on the same token, if we go with, I mean, it's not as easy as it sounds, because first of all, when we bought from Wine and Cheese, you're buying it from somebody that has a license to operate on another place, okay? And then we go out and get the separate insurance, just like we do at Celebration in the Park. You have to buy those products, they have to buy them, you know, it's not like you can run to Benny's and buy a mess of wine and pour the wine for your wine tasting. They have to come through a distributor, okay? And you have to have a state liquor license, and if the only way we could probably even do it on Golf Visions and have the insurance covered is if we bought the wine through their distributor. Or if we stay with Wine and Cheese where they have that license, I guess, and that's right, Claudette, as I understand it, they have a license to be able to float to these functions and do the wine tastings and stuff.
Correct.
So we would have the insurance. I think Golf Vision's concern is, you know, what are we expecting them to staff it? Is Wine and Cheese gonna staff it? Are they gonna do all the cleanup, you know? I mean, there was talk, I heard, that maybe, you know, buying food and bringing food in. Well, then we got another problem, because we have to have a certified food handler on site and all the other stuff. So, I think Golf Visions would be negotiable, but we gotta know what part of them they have to do. You know?
I think
Are we gonna buy the stuff through them, or, you know, then we gotta get the dram shop license? I mean, if we buy it through them and then they do it, then it's, you know, and I don't know if they're capable of doing the food and stuff either, but then if we're gonna bring the food in other words, it can't be run like a backyard party. Then we gotta have certified food handlers and stuff on staff, and then they're wondering if we're gonna bring the food in, how much staff do they have to hire to do that stuff? And I think that's what they were concerned more about covering.
And basically, you know, if you remember in the past, what we've done is, you know, International House comes, they supply all the wine, they supply all the food, they provide the servers. We use the community club for the restrooms, and for the bar for anybody that wants a beer or mixed drink. The 19th hole would basically be
Restrooms and mixed drinks?
Yeah,
Just like the
it's
community
replacing
club.
community. So we would, you know, and we were looking at other vendors, you know, to shop around a little bit, instead of using International House possibly, but they're still, you know, in the mix of being the vendor of choice. So, you know, so basically Golf Visions would just be replacing the community club. So a couple of bartenders, or a bartender and a manager, if that's what they're comfortable with, would really be it.
So I think I think they need to understand their level of involvement, that's all, because, you know, from what I understand, you're talking about bringing food in and getting food other places, and they gotta, you know, and then plus, I mean, we have to have a certified food handler then, rather than bring it in, and, you know, and then can we use their kitchen, or, you know, I mean...
Their grill?
Their grill, I mean, you know, and then do they have to have somebody in the kitchen that's gonna
Yeah, it
keep
wouldn't
this
be,
up?
a lot of different ideas have been thrown out there.
So
Kind of muddy in the waters, but no, you know, we like the turnkey operation with bringing International House in. The one conversation tonight was back to the food, and do we use, you know, do we buy from Angelo's and bring it there where, like you say, we
handle it properly and have a certified food handlers. We use their kitchen and that kind of stuff, you know, well, I don't know that we would need to.
keep it warm and stuff, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there, you know. So I think we gotta know the level of involvement of all 3 weeks, so we can tell about visions, and I think they, because I heard they said, well, they told Joe 500, then they said 300, but what do you really want us to do? So that's how they left it, you know.
I have a question. You guys still plan on setting up those canopy tents and everything? Would that be, where would you guys locate that at during function? Or is this all gonna be inside the 19th?
No, it won't be inside.
Okay.
No, we'll still do our tents outside.
You'd probably go to the east, right? Like behind the
Yeah,
second
I
green,
think so.
or second tee, you know, behind the second tee, that's where that flat area is, so,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Look for a nice flat spot. But no, we'd still do like, you know, Ed's rental with tent, tables, chairs,
Right.
all that stuff. So band would be outside, samples, wine samples would be outside, food would be outside under the tent.
You know, I think, and I don't know, International Wine and Cheese that well, but, every time I've gone to it, I think that it's, I mean, they have quality wines, they have a lot of wines, you know, and if you go to a wine tasting, so, you know, I don't know what choice you have, or how many people even do that stuff, you know, if there's
Not a
other
lot.
vendors around, not a lot, I mean, so they, you know, but if you wanna keep it a quality event, I think you'd rather go with them than, you know, not a quality event, and if we make a little bit of money, it's not, we're losing money, and it's still a nice event that I think the folks in town enjoy.
The increase we'll see in cost, doing it at golf, or at Chapel Hill is not only paying them, in the past, the community club, not that it's a guarantee, but the community club has, you know, been donated, for us, so that's been a cost savings, but, we also use the community club's tables and chairs for free, so.
And they don't have any tables in Jersey.
Right, so we'll be renting all that stuff, so we're basically going from $500 to $1,000 in rentals.
I have no problem staying at the community club.
We have talked to the yacht club, a couple of years ago, and I honestly don't remember why it wasn't
I
gonna
think
work,
the,
but there was.
this issue was parking and
Yeah.
bathrooms, when you talked to that.
Yeah, there were some issues.
Washrooms and
Yeah.
parking. they were-
I think those issues have been
Which I don't
resolved,
but.
Yeah,
But they got a big factor, I
150 people
suppose, if you
would
just
be-
hit the wrong weekend where
Could
it
be a
poured
challenge.
rain, it could be
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah, their grassy areas.
I think the yacht club would be a beautiful venue.
Right.
What's that?
I said, I think the yacht club would be a beautiful venue.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, and when,
Shuttle bus or something.
yeah, when Joe brought that up, you know, a couple of years ago, we were all excited at the idea, and then when it fell apart, you know. But yeah, that's something we might be able to revisit, so it was nice. So, the other concern was people golf carting. Can't get your golf cart to the golf course, so.
Right. I, for one, was concerned about the small amount of area you have, like Ted said, that one flat spot behind 2 tee box, and you got a little bit in front of 19th hole, but then you still got golfers golfing at 6, 7 o'clock.
And it drops off pretty good there,
Right,
too,
I think,
right?
yes,
Or
it's pretty
you go to
steep.
the east, like
Right.
behind the center.
Yeah. So I think
Good
your
point.
footprint, you have the other part suits it very well. As much as I'd like to try it over there, right?
No, that's a great point.
Community clubs on the sewer,
That's true too.
Yeah.
we at Chapel Hill and the Yacht Club are both on septics, and Chapel Hill's our septic.
How many people, Tom, did you say was at it last year?
There were about 150 last year.
So, I mean, as far as the yacht club, they have weddings that big, don't they, Mary Lou, or I'm not?
Yeah, it's pushing it, I think 125, I want to say.
That's the max?
I think so.
Yeah, if you're standing up in there, it'd be better with the tables. 90 gets cozy real quickly, but without tables.
And then if you put the tent, I guess there's a flat spot there by the lake to put the tent, and, you know, but I don't know. I think
Maybe porta potties or something. but-
if 150 is, or 190 or 100 is pushing, and you're talking 150, I don't even think we'd have enough parking either, to be honest.
Plus, what about the members?
Not to mention all, yeah, your committee members.
Right. Yep.
Darn it, she was so popular.
Unless you wanna do some early twilight golfing, then come over to the wine tasting event.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how busy they are. They're gonna be busy. It's a Friday, right? So,
Maybe.
they'll be busy.
All right.
Maybe help them out.
Well, and the different people on the committee are looking into different things, and, you know, we'll talk to golf fans again with more specifics about their involvement and see, but we'll figure it out.
Trustee McAvoy.
Well, my thought is that any one of these three venues would be great. We've had great success with the community club. And maybe we should talk for 1 year and keep it there and rethink this.
Yeah.
You know, these other two venues for the following
I
year.
mean, it could be a different event we could do there, so it's more, you know what I mean? I mean, you have to stifle this one because of limitations of
Yeah.
those other places, so you can always do a different event, something a little more intimate over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you, what were they, Tom, were you thinking like going back to Rescue Squad Park and then using the community club, or?
Yeah.
I think that was a nicer setup than the community club grounds, but.
Yeah, otherwise, yeah, with the pavilion and the one time we saw.
No, I think that's a really nice,
You know,
Venue.
and it's a short walk to the community club to go on those side doors and stuff.
Yeah.
You need bathrooms.
we have the washrooms.
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts.
Anything else, Trustee Curry, about community affairs? Are you of money this weekend or anything?
Yeah, we got the money, and, we've got a volunteer to hop around in it. Yep, got the costume, so yeah, we're good to go.
Okay, sounds good. Anyone else? Everybody else, I think, commented at the last meeting, right? So, okay. All right, Alfred May Park and Sandalwood Lake Dornwood Park. I think we're going to table till the next meeting, Tom, when Tim is here, okay? Because I want him to hear the conversation.
Yeah, with Sandalwood and Lake Dawnwood too?
Well, unless you have something specific you want to talk about, that's fine.
Yeah, so, with, the school, every year, the junior high 8th grade, 8th graders in the junior high, this year it's gonna be the entire 8th grade class, like 150 kids. They go out and, plant oak trees, and the oak trees are donated by the Land Conservancy, the McHenry Land Conservancy, different than the Conservation District. They come in like a 5-gallon bucket. Land Conservancy pays for the trees, donate them to the school district. Andy, one of the 8th grade teachers, organizes all of this, with a gentleman by the name of Dave from the Land Conservancy. I invited them here, and obviously they couldn't make it. But basically, they set up a day where the kids go and they plant these trees. It's always in a public space. So they came to us asking about places to plant the trees, hoping we could partner up with them on it. They are looking to plant 45 trees on May 1st. They turn it into a whole lesson. They bus the kids there, obviously. And then they break them into groups, and they go through a whole thing about conservation and the history of oak trees in the county and what was here and what's here now and that kind of thing. When they came to a committee meeting, a couple of committee members were thinking that Hiller Park would be a great place for them to do this, but obviously planting 45 trees and keeping them 20 foot apart, kids' soccer balls, footballs, and all that, just didn't really work well. Lions Club, I think, is already planting around the perimeter, doing some trees.
Yeah, if you die, you get a tree,
Yeah,
but nobody's in a hurry to get a tree.
right?
Nobody's rushing.
So anyway, the vacant land at Sandalwood, like Dogwood, came up. I visited the site with them to see if it was something that was doable, see if the land would be, dry enough, any water issues, that kind of thing. They both thought it would be absolutely great. So, the talk with the committee has always been to keep that a passive park, space where, we would just mow a walking trail, that kind of thing. Maybe eventually do some benches near the ponds, off the walking trail. Maybe a tot lot at some point kind of thing. But that's been it. So, considering that space is full of, trees that are not the healthiest, and, Public Works is going out there every year to clean up one that's fallen and that kind of thing, I think it'd be a great idea to get some healthy trees in there that'll, kids making an investment in the community and,
Well, I think what we need, on that, and I'm not totally against that, I'm just thinking, you mentioned that we were gonna just maybe mow paths. The talk was to mow walking paths, right, and then just cut the rest of it only a couple times a year. And, I guess, the placement of these trees, would be critical, that when we do mow the rest of it, right? Because I think what I'm hearing is walking paths that you mow like every week, and then you mow the ditches, right? And then every once in a while, every month or so, you go through and mow everything else. If the trees are in 5-gallon buckets, I don't know how high they are, are they as high as this counter, or are they like a stick? And then do we have to have a guy mow around every tree, and then, so you don't mow over it? I'm just thinking of how do you take care of this?
Yeah, a couple things, I failed to mention, the only thing they want from the village is a load of mulch, because they'll mulch around each tree. They provide a cage that goes around each tree, that they'll go back after like a year and take off of it. But yeah, mowing around them would be the only downside I would see.
Well, yeah, but they mulch around it, I guess you could mow around it, but you'd have to send somebody out there to mow around it when he goes through. I'm thinking if you got the walking paths, which are benches, I think are all a great idea. But then when he comes in and cuts it like once a month or something, just so it isn't a hayfield, is he gonna just wipe out these kids' trees? I don't know. I'm just thinking of the maintenance of it, that's all. I'm not against the idea.
Well, I would think that anybody with half a brain could operate a mower and go around a mulched tree, so I would hope that, and I would also like to think that if we're not mowing as frequently, that there are additional costs to go around some trees, 45 trees, would be maybe offset by not mowing as frequently.
And there are older trees there that are damaged.
Some of them, I think they're all cracked.
They are,
Yeah,
in my
they're
opinion.
giant trees.
Right, so you're taking down some, you're planting new ones for future growth.
Yeah.
So I think the mower would stay the same, but I like the fence around it. They're probably like little 2-3 footers, right? Like an inch
Yeah,
thick.
3 foot tall or something.
They're all oak, did you say?
Yeah, they only do oak.
They only do oak.
Yeah, there's a
All
couple.
oaks, huh?
Yeah, a couple different species of oak. that do.
Well, they won't get big fast then.
No, it is a long-term, growth kind of thing.
Okay. Well, should be able to move them easy enough too. If we have to. So are you thinking of a roll, like a roll of trees, or just spot them all over the place?
I'm open to suggestions, I think something more, more random than, more natural looking would make
Yeah.
sense.
Well, more natural would be nicer, I mean, as they mature and get better.
Right.
But, you know, if we don't work them all out anymore, it's
Don't worry about that, huh?
Well, when you talk about a 4-foot tree, I
You
think
gotta
I even gotta see it. So,
Well, the first cage he ties
You
up
talk
in
about
his
it
legs,
more.
he'll think about it, you know, after that.
maybe what we could do too is plan around like the outskirts,
Mhm.
because you don't know what you might wanna do in the middle, if you're gonna have walking paths, if you're gonna have a couple benches. Get that laid out, so we can approve some type of plan where you put the tot lot and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, you know, put them around the outskirts, because maybe when they mow the ditch, they gotta keep the ditches mowed and mow up, they can just, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
If they're around an area where they could, you know, still keep it natural, then if you come up with, you can take the plat or whatever, the aerial view, and start laying out where you'd wanna put a pavilion, or where you'd wanna do that stuff, and then we can maybe discuss it and approve a park plan, so we know what we're doing.
Good to have the input from the people that are going, you know,
From Davey.
from Davey. Mhm.
Most of that mowing's all farmed out now, so that would be Kevin.
Yeah, his pillar. No neighbors would complain or anything with the trees going in? I don't think so,
No.
but I just wanna ask that
Yeah,
question.
no.
Just 'cause
Only
the sign,
if
we
we
put
put
a
a sign.
We put a sign out there, they get all worked up, but you might block somebody's view, I just had to ask the
Only
question.
if it was signed.
I think,
Do we need an answer on this before May 1st?
yeah, the sooner the better, 'cause, I mean, I mean, this is part of their lesson plan, it's a big undertaking for them, so yeah, I mean, if we're opposed to it or something, we need to know quick, so they can rethink what they're gonna do. But, yeah, and as far as the neighbors go, on the south side of Sandalwood there, those front yards are full of old oak trees. You know, I think it adds something to the area there. And right now, you know, the only thing the neighbors use that for is, to illegally dump their grass clippings and, but they go through our property to get to the school's property and dump it in their,
It's good for trees.
right? Yeah.
Right.
But,
Well, that's the new dam.
right, so, but yeah, you know, I need to get back with them, you know, with a consensus on if we
What-
like the idea or not.
What about, Whispering Ridge, would they be opposed to planting them like, parkway trees?
I don't know. They said, the only thing he said is they never do it on private property, but parkway trees on.
Parkway is village
Would be
property.
village property.
It would be something that they put out there that would, you know, maybe start to grow and, enhance the area, you know, until people start building houses.
Or possibly.
So it's not private property.
There's a lot for those two ponds down there.
There's a lot of,
It is, it would
Lot
be
of
split
space.
up.
A lot of coverage.
Yeah.
So you need so much.
you need 20 feet.
I'm just thinking if we, you know, we got like the driveway locations and stuff, or an idea, and we just went through there and used them as parkway trees. It's on, village property. I mean, the idea, maybe in a year from now, we'd have a better idea where we'd wanna, you know, you could look at, Lake Dawnwood and put your tot lot in there and your pavilion in there, and maybe where you're gonna have your fishing piers or whatever for the fishing tournaments. It's still ongoing, right, Scott?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, I saw his son's new fishing boat, so I can't put it in the pond. But anyways, you know, but maybe by then, we'd have a better idea what we'd wanna do up there, because you have an idea where you're gonna put the paths and the benches and that kind of stuff. I don't know, it's just a suggestion, and that would be public property, and, you know, it would be.
I'll ask them.
Yeah. Kevin?
I would suggest that we commit to it, but the location would be at our direction. And then you and Davey can work with regard to
Where
what
and how.
yeah.
Yeah, the one other thing as far as location will be, it needs to be one place. You know, they're not gonna bus kids to, you know, 2 or 3 different places, so.
Well, you can pick a couple of places.
You take, have Shannon involved in that, because he's really the park guy now.
Right.
Okay? And then look at, the parkway trees. I mean, if Tim would know how that's laid out, where the driveways are, it might be something that we could, easily just drive along the road if they need water, or we have a drought, we could water them pretty easy, because there's a road all the way around there. We could send the lady that does the flowers to water them with the mulch and stuff, if they need it. You know, I don't know if they, if they're that young, I mean, and you have a drought, I think they probably have to be watered too, right?
Yeah, he said 2 or 3 times a year, you know, the first year, or the first.
Just till they root a little bit, yeah.
Maybe for deer or 2 on there or something like that, just to gnaw them down.
But that would be
That's
something,
risky.
that'd be something, we gotta plant trees there
They go
anyways,
here,
and
right,
if they'd survive, and
Problem.
she could go along and water them right up from the road, it wouldn't be like she'd be driving out in the field trying to figure out where they go. And then maybe by next year, if they wanna do it again, you'll have an idea what you're doing on, at Lake Dawnwood, where you know where to plant them. Plus, in the meantime, that'll give us some time to get rid of the stuff that is just junk. Because you said there is some stuff that's just junk, right? that you
Oh,
don't-
absolutely.
I don't know, it's just a suggestion, and maybe you can find out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, so you're talking about trying to put them in Whispering Ridge or Lake Dawnwood?
Whispering Ridge.
Okay.
Tom said they can't go on private property, but that would be public right?
Yeah, no, I understand that. So I understand now, that's why Kevin was looking to have Dave involved in it, because that is the road right away, so we
Right.
should have Dave involved in that.
All right.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay. With there being none, I'll entertain adjournment.
One thing first.
Yes, please.
Since the board approved the $25 fee for businesses, I would highly recommend when you send a letter out to let them know that maybe do a markup of what additional things you're going to do for them.
The letter's already went out, it was already identified in the letter.
Did you get examples of mock-up of what it will look like, or what things you're doing for them?
No, not a mock-up, but just within the letter, it talked a little bit about, you know, the business listing on the website and some additional marketing opportunities, but it didn't give an example, a mock-up of a marketing plan for them.
Those additional opportunities, does that require them to send ads in, or?
We reach out to
craft it?
them. We will reach out.
But I mean, you're not going to create them. You don't have staff to create those. So they would have to supply you with an ad that would appear somewhere.
Right, which we've done before on some of our efforts. You know, like, for example, when we had road closures and stuff, and we reached out to a certain segment of the business population to assist them, that's what they did. They provided us some marketing information
Okay.
to be able to do that.
I mean, if you're going to get into start creating stuff, it's going to be a lot more than $25.
Absolutely,
To do
yeah.
stuff. So I'm just trying to get a better understanding of what it is they get, and then they know what they're getting for it,
Sure.
versus just say, well, you get more marketing opportunities, that doesn't really define it.
Okay.
Anything else? I'll entertain motion for adjournment.
So move.
Motion by trustee McAvoy, seconded by trustee Hagan. On the roll, trustee Hutchinson, trustee
Aye.
McAvoy,
Aye.
trustee Curry,
Aye.
trustee Hagan,
Aye.
trustee Frost,
Aye.
and trustee Thompson.
Aye.
Motion carried.